Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be making this beautiful kissing pleat shirt gown. These are the measurements we'll be needing. Alright, so right here I have my pieces. I'm going to take the shoulder measurement now. Our shoulder is 15, so we're going to divide 15 by 2. It's going to give us 7.5, or you can say 7.5. But first of all, before I do that, this is a shirt gown and I'm not cutting the fabric that I'll be using for the shirt folding at the front together. So I'm going to mark ½ inches by this side. So this is what I'll be using to join the 3 inches fabric that I'll be using to form the shirt, where the button hole and the button is going to be. I always follow this pattern whenever I want to manage my fabric, because I'm trying to manage this fabric here. So I'll just rule ½ inch before I start my measurement. So any measurement I'm taking is going to be starting from that line where I ruled the ½ inch. So I'll be inputting my shoulder now. Like I said, our shoulder is 15 divided by 2 gave us 7.5 or 7.5 inches. So I will insert my 7.5 inches there. Then I'm going to come down from the shoulder line by 9 inches. This is just a standard measurement I use for everybody, but if you are busty, I might increase it. So I'm going to input the shoulder measurement at that place where I have my 9 inches. Then I'll connect it together. After this, right now I'm going to start inputting my body measurement. Like I said, the bust is 38 divided by 4. At this point we divide every other measurement by 4. 38 divided by 4 is going to give us 9.5 or 9.5 inches, any one that works for you. Then I'm going to go down at the waist. The waist is 33 divided by 4 is going to give us 8.25, which is 8¼ inches. So at this point I'm going to connect the lines together. Then I will add my sewing allowance. This shirt is going to have a dart, so I'll be putting that into consideration. So at the waist part of the gown, I'm going to add 2.5 inches, 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance and 1 inches for my dart, so giving us a total of 2.5 inches. Then at the bust side I'm just going to add 1.5 inches. So I'll connect it together. Then I'm going to construct my dart. So like I said, every measurement is going to start from that line. So I'll be coming in from the center front by 4 inches. Then from my shoulder line I'm going to take 12.5 inches, which is the standard measurement though. So I'm going to connect the lines together. And at the waist part I'm going to take ½ inches on both sides. Then I will slant them to the 12.5 inches I took there, I marked there. So this is going to be my dart line. So this is where I will sew. So I'll do the same thing for the back. I've done the same thing for both sides of the dresses. Then now I'm going to come down from the shoulder by 1 inches to get the shoulder slope. Then from there, since the shoulder of this person is 15 inches, I'm taking 3 inches as shoulder width. Then for the front of the gown I'm going to take 4 inches, while for the back I'll take 1 inch. So I'll connect it together with a curve. I'm just using my free hand. If you have a French curve, you can do that. So I've connected it. Mind you, I'm inputting both the back and front and back measurement together because I'll be using this front to cut the back. So I'm going to measure what I have after taking the 1 inches. I have ½ inches. I have 8 inches. Sorry. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'm going to mark the midpoint. Then I'll come in by ½ inches to get a armhole curve. So this is what I have. So just because I'll be using the front to cut the back, I will still do the same thing, but by this, when I'm cutting the back, I'm not going to come in by half inches. So I'll just, from the 4-inch I have, which is the midpoint, I'm just going to curve it to connect to the bust measurement. Then right now I'm going to trim this off, then I'll use the front to cut the back before I do the necessary adjustments. I'll first of all cut the 1 inches because I'm using this to cut the back. So I was trying to say I'm managing my fabric. The back is going to have a joining also, because I have just 3 yards of this fabric and I have to manage it. So I've gotten the down part of the fabric, which is 33.5. So the what is left for me was 12 inches. Thank God is something that can go for the bust measurement, because the bust is the widest part of the upper body. So the back of the dress is going to have a center joining also. Assuming my fabric is enough, I wouldn't have a center joining, I'll just fold into 2. So because of this, I'll just take the exact measurement I have for the front. That is what I'll be taking for the back. So the ½ inches for the front that I have, that I'm going to use it to join the 3 inches that I'll be using for the button base and the buttonhole base. I'm going to join it at the back, so I'll cut this out first. So I'm done cutting the back right now, so I'm going to adjust the front, take off those excess materials that are not needed. First of all, I start with the neck depth, so I'll trim this out, then I'll get to the armhole and trim it. You remember I did a curve that went into the front bodies by ½ inches, so I'm going to trim this out also. So I'm done cutting the back and the front, and so this is how the back and the front look. Basically, this is how to cut a upper body. Even if you can use with this pattern, you can use it to cut a upper body for a peplum top. You can use it to cut for a flare gown. So this is how you cut an upper body with just a dart. So I'll be using this materials, this cutout. So I've done my dart for my back. I do it, but for the back will be coming, remember for the front we came down by 12.5, but for the back will be coming down by 9.5 inches. The back was 12.5. Reason because, remember, because of the bust is going to take the excess at the front, but the back is so flat and smooth. So since there's no bust that was going to occupy the space, so we'll come up by 3 inches. So we'll start our measurement at that measurement by. So I've finished cutting the lining. I use the materials that I've cut out to as my pattern for my lining. So I've finished cutting the lining for both the back and the front. So I'm going to use this lining to turn it, because I don't want a rough edge and I want the gown to be thick when you see it, and even when the person will wear it. So that's why I'm cutting a lining for it. So this is the down part of the gown. There's no much explanation to be done here. This is just a straight fabric, and I have 3 yards of fabric here, which is 36 inches times 3. I have it here. Then what I'll do, I don't know how many will be enough for the kissing pleat. So usually I do this, I take excess, so I start forming the kissing pleat. So by the time I'm forming, I'm taking my measurement. When I get to the actual waist measurement, the actual length of the waist that I want, then I'm going to stop and remove the excess. So if it's somebody with a bigger waist, I'll be using more fabric, but this is just 3 inches, so I took the exact length I want. The total of the gown is 48, and the up, I've already used 15 inches for the upper body. Okay, so this is me. I've done the darts. I've had my darts both for the lining and for the main fabric, and I've turned the sides. As you can see, is neatly done. And the dart, I did it in seam, so I sewed the dart for the lining first and that for the fabric before turning the fabric. So this is the front part of the gown, and this is the back part of the gown. I've done it together. Remember, I said it's going to have a center joining at the back, so this is the joining. By the time I iron it, it will look smooth. So by the time I finish this, I'll take it to my sewing machine and give it a proper press. So you can see the back now. You can see how it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulders together, joining lining to lining and fabric to fabric. So I'll sew the both fabric first, then I'll sew the lining. So I'm done joining the shoulders together. As you can see, everything is in seam at the shoulder because I joined lining to lining and fabric to fabric. So you can see I just top stitch the neck. There's no need turning the neck because it will be having a collar. This is a kissing pleat gown shirt collar. So I'm going to join the bodies now, like sew the shape. So you see I finished joining the back and the front, and I've gotten a shape. I had to pin the front, the excess of the front, for me to get the correct measurements so that I can join it. So you see what I've done right here. So I'll go ahead and start folding the kissing pleat. So this is what I'm doing in my machine. I'm trying to get the kissing pleat. So I like sewing it together in order for it to be firm. So you see I'm done with the kissing pleat. You see how it looks like it's properly arranged, neatly done. Even without ironing, you can see that it's neat. So by the time I iron it, you see it will be better. So I'm done joining the upper body with the damp parts, which is the kissing pleat, and this is what we have here. So I'm going to turn it with the lining to cover the edge because I want every sewing to be in. So this is me sewing the lining to the fabric. So I'm still going to do the lining as a kissing pleat. So this is what we have. So this is the inner part of it. You can see the rough edge. So by the time I turn it, you are not seeing it, but I'll still take it to the weaving house to whip it so that it will be very neat. But by the time I turn the gown, you see what we are having right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fix the sleeve. No, sorry, I'll go ahead. Remember I said it's a shirt gown and I'm going to cut an extra fabric. So this fabric, I have a total of 3.5 inches right here, and one side of the fabric has been folded in by half an inch. I like doing that. I use my iron to press it half inches so that when I'm turning it over, it will be very neat. So I'll put it together. I'm going to start the sewing from the inner part of the dress, which is from the, so this is what I'll do. I'll sew this with a half an inch, then by the time I fold it, so I'll sew it to the down. I like using this method, especially if my shirt gown have a joining. It's easy, simple, and less stressful. So I'm done sewing it. So see what we have. Easy, simple, and neatly done. Can you see it? You wouldn't even notice that it was a joining. So I always do this when I'm trying to manage my fabric, and you have a straight button O base and button base. So by the time you press this with your iron, it's going to be very, very beautiful. So I'll go ahead and attach my sleeve to the dress. So I have a total of 9.5 inches for the length of the sleeve, half inches to join the sleeve to the dress itself, and 1 inches for the folding allowance at the bottom. You can see, so I'll be left with 7.5 inches. So my armhole Yes, my round armhole measurement was 18, so I divided it by 2, so I have 9. So I've taken the measurement. So this is me. I'm done sewing the sleeve and turning the damper. So I'll attach it right now to the dress. I will go over to attach the collar. All right, this is the collar. I'm using a very simple method to get this collar. I just discovered this method and it has been working for me. I hope it will be good for you. So there's no stress of taking half inches, adding half inches. So my I took the measurements of the neck of the whole dress, and it gave me 18 inches. I divided it and it gave me 9 inches. So this my fabric is on fold. So as you can see, my fabric is on fold, so that is why I'm dividing by 2. So from here to here is 9 inches. Then I added quarter inch for allowance. Sewing allowance is very necessary. If you don't do that, you're going to have a shortage, and which is what you don't want. So I have a total length of 5.5 inches here. I want the collar to be 5 inches, both the collar stand and the collar itself. I'm cutting it together. This is a very simple method. You just have to try it. It works for me, and I believe it's going to work for you. So I'll be attaching the collar to the dress with half inches. Then will be left with 5 inches. So that is why I have a total of 5.5 inches. So the line you're seeing there, from the down to the upper part, I took 2.5 inches. So by the time I attach the collar with half inches, I'll be left with 2 inches for the collar base. So I came in from this point by 1 inch and quarter to get the collar base. So this is what one inch and quarter is, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I came in by 1 inch and quarter, and also I added the quarter inch allowance. Whatever I'm doing, I'm always adding my quarter inch allowance for my joining. So I'm going to just curve it to that, not to the main 9 inches, but to the quarter inch allowance. You can see where I placed my chalk. So that is what I'll do. So I'm going to trim this off right now. So I'll trim this off right now. So I'm done trimming it. So you see what I'm talking about. I had to put the chalk at the positive side of the fabric for you to see it very well, because I have a paper stay, soft stay. I like using soft stay for my collar. I usually do not use collar stay, but you can use collar stay, still fine, but this is what I have. So I had to mark it by the side. You see what I did? I folded, it was on fold, which is by the time I open it, I have a total of 11 inches. So because I'm using half inches to join to the collar, so I use my iron to press it down so that it will be smooth. My fabric wasn't really enough. That is why you are seeing the joining there. So now I'm going to sew this. The half inches I'll be using to attach this collar to the dress. I'm not going to close it. I'm going to open it so that it's very easy for us to attach our collar. So you see, I've done. So this is what I have. This is the right side. So this line you are seeing, I'm going to just take it to my sewing machine, and I will sew a line straight. So this will be the demarcating line between the collar and the collar base. Can you see? So this is the demarcating line between the collar and the collar base. So by the time I finish and I fold it, this is what our collar will look like. Very beautiful, perfect, no much stress, no come down by half inches, go up by 1 inches. So this is a very simple method. So I'm done attaching the one part of the collar to the dress now. As you can see, can you see it now? So I'm going to finish it up by running stitches on it. Remember, that is why I use my iron to fold half inch inside. It makes your work easier for you and neater. If you don't do it like, by the time you are just folding with your hand, it will be very rough, but you see, can you see now? I'm done with the collar. You can see there's no rough edge, there's no rough everywhere. Everything is just. So this is what we have here. Our beautiful shirt kissing pleats gown is ready. I had to put a belt so that to give it the fitness. This is our pleats. Can you see it? So if you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, please give this video a thumbs up. This is a collar. You see, it's very cute, simple to make, and yet cute, standing very well. It's not too big, it's just on a normal size. So please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and see you all in my next video. Bye bye.